Okay, someone asked me how I do the pockets for the NCW, the necessary close wallet. How do I do the zipper pockets that are, instead of one, there's two? I have my wallet ready here, and I'm gonna get going with the zipper pocket piece. And the first thing that you need to do is prepare your two zippers. And the size that you need these, or at least the size that I use, is 6.5 inches long. Exactly 6.5 inches long. You see? Right there. So you need two of those, and you need 8 tabs to do your zipper tabs. Okay, and to do the zippers, you're gonna take 2 tabs, and doesn't matter how big they are. I don't mind to use bigger than what I need. And you're gonna sandwich your zipper between those tabs and right sides together. So the right sides of the fabric are gonna trap the zipper, and then you're gonna stitch that at 1/4 inch. I don't know why my needle. Oh, I know why. Okay, so we're gonna stitch that at 1/4 inch. I kind of like to back stitch. And once you have that done, you're gonna top stitch. Gonna press that. You can take it to the iron if you want, but you're gonna press that up like that, and then you're gonna top stitch. I kind of like to back stitch at the beginning and at the end of my zipper tape. There we go. Because I'm going to cut now the excess. So if I back stitch here and here, I can cut, and my stitching is not going to unravel. And the next step is to cut them to size. So you're going to end up with something that looks like this. I cut them like like this first. So you're going to end up with something that looks like that. Okay, we're going to the next step now. Okay, the next thing that you need to do is to trim this so your zipper measures 8 inches long. So I have this little cutting board here, and this board measures exactly 8 inches. So what I do is, like, I put my zipper on top of it, and I kind of center it. And then I get my rotary cutter and cut one side, and then turn it around because I'm a lefty. And I cut my other one, and then if I have like anything poking up, like it doesn't look perfectly straight, I kind of eyeball and kind of straighten it out. But I make sure my zipper measures 8 inches long. Doesn't matter what method you use, as long as you have 1 inch tabs and a 6.5 and a 6 inch zipper, because you stitch at 1/4 inch, now your zipper tape measures 6 inches long. See, it measures 6 inches long. So 1 inch of the tab and 1 inch of the tab, that makes it a perfect 8. So this is my method. That's how I do it. So you do that with the other one, and then we're gonna get ready to do the whole the zipper pockets. The zipper pockets? Yeah, the zipper pockets. So for your normal zipper pocket, you need the 2 zipper pocket outer pieces, and you need 2 pieces for the zipper pocket lining, which are these. So you need 2 of those, then the 2 of the outer pieces, and then you need 1 zipper. In order to make it double and make 2 zippers, you need an extra zipper, just the same, and 2 extra of the lining pieces for your zipper pocket. So you're gonna cut 4 of these. You're gonna need 2 zippers, and you're gonna need your 2 pieces of the outer. That's all you need to do it the way I do it. And the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna position your zipper on the 8-inch side, because I think one side, if you put it one way, your zipper ends up being longer. But if you put it the other way, your zipper matches perfectly that big piece. So you're gonna do that. You're gonna stitch. I like to baste, but you're more than welcome to just put it like that, and then put your lining piece on top and stitch both of them at the same time. But I baste because I like to have like a very good control of my piece, so I always baste. Okay, so once you have the 2 pieces sewn together, so I put my zipper right side together with my outer zipper pocket piece, right sides together, and then I put the lining and I stitch it at 1/4 of an inch. So once you have that done, you can help yourself by using an iron and pressing. I usually use my fingers. So you're gonna end up with a piece that looks like this. And what I do is, like, once I have that, I top stitch on my edge right there. And I put my stitching length to 4.5, whichever I kind of like better. And for some reason, my machine sometimes gets stuck at the beginning, but I give it a little push and she gets back in track. That's sometimes, not all the time. And I have my zipper right there messing up. I take my zipper pull out of the way and keep sewing. So I have my top stitching in place. So now we're going to repeat that. We're going to get the other piece. So now we're going to sandwich right sides together my other outer piece on top of that zipper. And again, I'm going to baste that in place. And then after I baste it, I'm going to apply my other lining piece and stitch both of them together. And I'll show you how that looks in it. So I baste my piece. So I baste that in place. Now I'm going to stitch my other lining piece to the side of the lining. So I have my lining piece matching and my outer pieces matching. And I also kind of folded this because there's 2 ways you can do this. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain one of the ways, and then I'm going to show you how to do the other way. So you'll understand once we get there. But let's stitch this in place and show you what I have. So when you finish putting those 2 pieces and you put in your lining, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. This is your the inside, the lining side, and this is the outer side. So I think the pattern piece, the instructions in here are to stitch on the sides and here and then there, so you end up with 1 flat edge here and then 1 zipper pocket. But now, because we want 2 zipper pockets, we're just going to do the exact same thing but on the other edge of the outer piece. So you see these long pieces in here? We're gonna do exactly what we have here. We're gonna do it up here. So the reason I folded this is because once you put your zipper on the top, right there, right sides together, and then you put your lining piece on top and you stitch that, and you end up having that, you can top stitch that, right? But once you're gonna connect the other side, then you end up with the circle, right? And it's all good, but then when you finish that, attaching this side, then you end up with a closed circle, and it's gonna be kind of hard for you to top stitch that edge of the last one. You're gonna be able to top stitch fine this side, and then this side. But once you connect the last one, if you have this closed up, what's gonna happen is like you're gonna have to reach through a zipper pocket and try to do your top stitch like that. But if you have this marked down, you can cut this and then do your top stitching, and it's gonna be easy. You're gonna end up with this cut, but because that goes in the center of the wallet, once you stitch, it's gonna be concealed. So you're not gonna be able to see that cut out in there. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna apply my zipper to the outer piece, so to the top. And I always make sure that my zipper pulls are pointing the same way. So that's one thing to take in consideration. If not, you might have one zipper opening one way and the other zipper opening the other way. I don't know if that makes sense. But we're gonna baste this, and I'm gonna attach the lining, and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so I did my stitching. I basted, and then I stitched, and I pressed my edges. So now what we have is something that looks like this. And as you can see, my zipper's close to the same direction. And I did this marking because I want to know where's my center on this piece. That's why I folded it and didn't cut it, because I want to explain to you what I mean when I said that it's going to be closed up. Okay, so we have this looking like this. I'm going to top stitch here, so I will have no trouble top stitching there. So I have my 1, 2, and 3 lines of top stitching done. I'm going to attach now. I'm going to top stitch this, and then once that's done, I'm going to attach this piece right sides together with my zipper. So we're going to do that. We're going to baste it. Once that's basted, you're going to have like this bottom looking like this, and you're going to have your lining piece there. And then you're going to put your 4th lining piece facing the lining piece and the wrong side of the zipper. So we're going to do that. We're going to attach that last one. So again, you have this zipper in the middle of the 2 big panels. Then you have a zipper on the top. And then you're going to attach the bottom of that big panel to the top of that 2nd zipper. Okay, we'll do that, and I'll show you how it looks. And right now I had to top stitch that side, but and if you notice, I forgot to top stitch here, so now I had to do that to both sides. But let's see if you can understand what I mean by if you didn't cut that piece that I marked. See, if this piece, outer piece, is not cut, then you end up with something that looks like this. And you need and want to top stitch this because you want a really nice neat edge, just like this one. So now to do that, you need to open, if you don't want to do that cut, you need to open one of the pocket pieces, and you need to center this on the machine, just like so. See that I have now a hole here? And then you kind of feed these to the machine, so you have this hole, the foot of the machine inside the hole, and then you kind of reach the beginning here, and you see how kind of complicated that can be. So I've done it like that, and usually, to be honest, that's how I do it because I don't like cutting this. But because right now I forgot to do 2 of the top stitching sides, so I'm just gonna cut through my fold. Gonna make sure I do a straight line, just right where I folded. And you see how that releases that panel. So now I can do my top stitching in here without any trouble. And I'm going to show you how that will look. I'm going to do the top stitch and I'll come back. 2 top stitching. So if I wouldn't have cut this piece, I would have been having something that looked like this. Imagine this is 1 piece instead of 2, but you would end up with a bubble, like a circle, and your 2 lining pieces on the top and your 2 lining pieces on the bottom. But because we cut it, we have that open there. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna be stitching only the sides. So to do that, you're gonna match, you see that tab in there? You're gonna pull that to the lining side. Push it to the lining side and match right there. You're gonna match your seams. Gonna match it, put a clip in there. And you're gonna do the same on the other side. Gonna put these up. And you're gonna pull your tab to your lining. And you're gonna match your side seam. So you end up with something like this. Right? And you're gonna do exactly the same thing on the other side. Put the tab towards the lining. And clip it there. And over here, again, tap towards the lining. There we go. So imagine that's closed. If that's the case, make sure your zippers are at least halfway open. I don't need to do that because mine is obviously it's split in the middle. So no matter what I do, I'm going to be able to reach my zippers and open them. But if this piece is closed, then you need to make sure your zippers are open halfway. Because once you stitch this side and this side, you're going to have like you're not going to have a way to open those zippers, basically. So now we're going to match this. And if they overlap, it's fine. If they just touch, it's also fine because, again, this is going to be concealed. So you're going to match them. Usually I do this on a table, so it's easier for me. But we're going to pin that together. Like so. And we're going to be stitching on that side and on this side. What I do is like I go bigger on my seam allowance here. And then I taper it down to 1/4 of an inch in the middle. 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. And then over here, I bring it in again to have a bigger seam allowance, because these pieces are going to go inside and you want them to nest flat inside the pocket. Okay, so for now, we're just going to stitch from here to here. Okay, making sure to taper this bigger in the beginning, and then 1/4 of an inch in the center, and then bigger at the bottom. Okay, stitch, you can see that my stitching looks bigger on the top and the bottom, and then it looks like 1/4 of an inch in the middle. And I kind of back stitch here where my tabs are, just because sometimes the machine jumps and I don't know, I always try to secure that and double kind of going back and forth in that area. But what you're going to do now, you're going to end up is, see, one opening in here because you slid that open. Again, if it's closed, then you end up with something that looks like this. And because you open your zippers halfway, now you can put your hand through it. See, and it looks kind of like a cylinder. That's what you're going to end up. So your bigger pieces of the zipper pockets are going to be in the center, and then your lining pieces are going to be on the sides, on the edges, top and bottom. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to trim. There's a few videos on how to do this, and there's an NCW group, Facebook group, and I'm pretty sure there's many videos in there on how to do this. This is how I do mine. Pretty sure a lot of people do it this way. But I just trim that, and then I turn it right side out. So if you have that slit in there, you can help yourself through it, or if you have the cylinder again, just turn that cylinder right side out. And it looks kind of funky, but you're going to end up with something that looks like a candy. You know those candies that are wrapped like this? That's how you're going to end up with. Now you just need to turn your tabs. Make sure your zipper tabs are out. And I help myself using a tool. Let me go get it, and then we come back. Make sure there that I have my tab right there. And I do the same thing. I do it first with my nail, and then I go with this and try to push out that seam. So my tab is right there, and then I push in the lining. And I have one done. Kind of push it like that. And just put it like this. Okay. So I push it inside and outside. Some people do a little bit of ironing on the seams to the inside, so when you push them in, they rest flat, and that's a very good idea. I didn't do it here, but if you want to do that, you can do it. So again, with my nail, I take the tab out. Then with my tool, I push my seam out. Make sure that looks neat. Got one out. Then my last one. Finish it up. Okay, and then push this in. So basically now you have your lining pieces in there, and I play with this for a little bit because I like the lining to be super flat in here. So I pull, I press until I have it as flat as I can. And if you see the edge that it's split in there, it doesn't matter because you're going to put this After you have it all flat and how you like it, and you press with the iron, close your zippers, you're going to end up with your 2 zipper pockets and that slit on the bottom. And that slit, you're going to put it on the bottom. And because when you sew this in, you're going to sew it, you're going to make a 1-inch box. That slit is going to be concealed on the bottom and you're not going to be able to see it. And that's it. That's how I do my zipper pockets. If you didn't slit this and you did the other way that I show you, then you're supposed to have 2 sides looking like this. But each way it's fine. Just make sure you put your hands through those zippers and press and align that super flat. Make sure it all fits nicely. And see, I kind of help my edges here with my fingers. Make sure that's flat. And then I do the same with the other side. Make sure that looks good and it's flat. And then I press that. See how flat that is now? And then I get a ruler and I find my center. And after I find my center and mark my center with something that's easy to erase, then I mark 1/2 inch one side of the line and then 1/2 inch the other side of the line. And I have my markings so I can position this on the wallet and stitch my box. And then that's how you have your 2 zipper pockets instead of 1 zipper and 1 flat edge. Hope this helps. Again, there's a Facebook group that's called NCW Addicts. Very good group, and you have every single information that you can find about how to make the wallets with 2 zipper pockets. I'm guessing there's tons of videos there that you can use. And there's also YouTube videos that you can look, and there's many videos in there that you can find helpful. So, bye guys.